Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. And welcome to this morning. Look, it's the beginning of a new week. It is Monday, and I've got a crew on here. We've got myself, we've got Matty Robin, we've got Jackie Heke, and soon there he is right there, and he's right in front of me. We've got Leo Allen. So we've got a really amazing topic, and I'm going to hand it straight over to Matty to take the floor and to introduce it to us, and we'll go from there. Ready, brother? Oh, let's get your breath back, right? Yeah, he's just been Tina's hustling, moving around. While he does that, hey, who can drop into the chat or quickly unmute and tell us what is amazing about Crowd1 right now? What's the latest in Crowd1? Unmute quickly or drop it in the chat. What is it?
If I can say one thing, wrapped with the those 6 new spots that a lot of people have gotten.
Yeah,
gives you 6 extra personals, which is amazing.
TPB, baby.
Yeah.
Well, it gives you 6 higher spots inside the company, for you to utilize. So it's the 6 spots above everyone, precious to you, to me. So yeah, as you know, we've created a TPB group so that we can just inspire each other with that particular those spots to make the most of them. So yeah, awesome. But anyone else? Can anyone else talk about what's the latest in the company that should be? If you're watching the news, looking all around, you should see it. What is it? What's the latest exciting news?
36 million.
Oh, Matty, you know all this. You shouldn't be saying it. You're the speaker.
Oh, you just.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, hey, all good. So you heard what Matty said. Yeah, we've gone 36 million members, and this will continue to grow. Yeah, regardless of whatever we think or feel. So it's important that what we're going to our topic talk about is that we look at what we visualize, because whatever we visualize success, that's where we'll go towards. If we visualize failure, that's what we visualize for other companies, for ourselves, and for our life. But without further ado, Matty's got his breath back. Over to you.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Yeah, we've just had a great warm up. Got a sweat up. Good to see Jackie getting motivated and fired up and raring to go. Yeah, I'll just quickly touch on it. Our visualization creates realization, which is our topic for today. And we'll touch on that a little bit more later on. So I'll just pass it on to Jackie or Leo.
Yeah, good morning, team. How are we all this morning? I hope we had a great weekend. I definitely did. Yeah, just about this topic this morning. It's going to be it's a very good topic. I've got a couple of things to share, so yeah, can't wait to get into it. I'll just pass it over to you, Jackie, just for a quick couple of words.
Sure, thank you, Leo, for passing it on. Just welcome everybody, as everyone has said, our peers and our group leaders in today's session. Am I going to share my visualization? Yes. Nope. Taiho for now. Just then I will just welcome everyone that's on at this moment, and welcome everyone else that will come in and join us. Ka pai.
And you've already said had a hi from me, so straight back to Matty. Over to you, brother.
Okay. Yes, our topic, visualization creates realization. It's something that's been in my mind for many years. Touched on by Bob Proctor in The Secret, and a lot of the visualists, I think that's what you call them, visionaries that are in The Secret. They all talk about the law of attraction, putting something in your mind, and if you do it enough, then it will come to pass. That's what you'll attract in the future. So yeah, if you visualize it enough, you will receive it. Okay, well, I brought this subject up previously, and it's quite close to my heart. A few months ago, Jackie and I think we were up after one of our meetings. We were up around about, I can't remember what time it was, but it was pretty late at night. We were on the phone for quite a while, and Julie has been is saying that I should bring it up. And it's sort of like a mini testament for me to bring this up this morning. About five years ago, I'd arrived back from Australia. We sort of like built a house in Whakatane coastlands, right by the beach, right in front of White Island. So we couldn't pick a better spot to be. Sandy white beaches, and I'd set my Contiki up on my quad bike, had all set up, and my partner and I would go out with my 2 dogs and go fishing. Beautiful fishing spots there, just right out from our house, so we didn't have to go far. Chuck the dogs on the quad bike, had a Contiki there, and we'd go out there. Or if my partner couldn't do it, then I'd get a couple of my work mates to come out, and they'd all have fun. We'd share our fish to everybody and the family, and that was great. My partner and I, we both had really, really good jobs. And where we lived, we had walkways that we could take the dogs. Basically, we had everything. But what we didn't have, or what I didn't have, was happiness. And I kept on visualizing that I needed to be happy, but it just didn't happen. We moved back from Australia, so my partner could be close to her whānau, but I was leaving my whānau that were in Melbourne and Perth behind. But I had a son back in Napier. So we moved back basically for her. And there again, I wasn't happy again. So we did everything for her, but not for me. So my needs were never sort of like brought into the picture. At the same time, when we moved back, we had the gym. We're close to everything. Everything was perfect. All her family were around. Yeah, so you'd think that I'd be pretty happy with all that, but no, I wasn't. And it wasn't until probably about this time last year. My son had previously asked me to come on a hikoi with him 3 or 4 times previous to that, this time last year. And my work commitments were such that I couldn't make them because I'm on shift work, and very hard to get a couple of days off at short notice, which is thing. But this time that he did ask me to come, it was perfect because I had the 3 days off. So I ended up packing up, heading back, and stayed with him for a couple of days. And I didn't know what to expect because it had been on the news previous. His friends had created this thing called men's medicine, and I'd seen it on TV, quite inquisitive about it. And so when I got back there, stayed the night with him and got everything ready. Then we moved out to my marae at 5 o'clock in the morning. There was 15 guys from all walks of life that turned up. Mungal mob, Black Power, anything you can think of, they were there. But yeah, they were related to all of us, many of them. So we all met at the marae, got in a huddle, introduced each other. Quite hard because some of them didn't want to look at each other. They didn't want to look in each other's eyes, which my son was trying to tell them to do, but they wouldn't. So yeah, anyway, we did that, jumped in the cars, and we ended up taking off out to Cheyenne Falls, which is probably about 3/4 of an hour out from my marae, about half an hour out of Bayview. We stopped off at the BP, got something to eat and a coffee while we're driving out there. And I took my nephew and a couple of others that I only vaguely knew, but they were sitting in the back. And yeah, funny thing, they wouldn't say a boo when we left, but by the time we got out to Shine Falls, they started conversing with each other. And then once we all arrived there, we all got in a huddle before we climbed over the fence. And my son just said to them all, had a prayer, did a few breathing exercises and all that sort of stuff, and then did more introductions. And then as we jumped over the fence, we walked for a little while and stopped and did our first exercise, which was the confrontation. And it was like, we'll all move around right by this river, and we'll all move around. And then when he said stop, just stop. And whoever was standing in front of you, you had to stand like about 2 feet apart. And didn't matter who it was, you just had to stay there and staring them in the eyes. And he had the music playing, and people, some of the leaders were talking. And yeah, this is real confronting to me, because I had to happen to face my nephew, who was in the black power, fully tattooed, and all of this, you know, his body's covered in tats. But yeah, he was staring me in the face, and man, it just felt really, really weird. But because I'd been a bouncer, like I said earlier on, for 15 years, and I'd been confronted by many people, but this was just out of this world, because you just had to stand in front of them and stare with your hands out to the side, so you're giving yourself to them. And it was really hard. And then all of a sudden you could see his eyes sort of welling up, and this is a black power guy. Anyway, a couple of minutes we did that, and then we moved around, and we did that a few times till we just about confronted each other. Then we carried on walking, went up to the top, and did a couple of other exercises where doing breathing, and then you had to write down things and all that sort of thing. Then we got up to the last fence, and before you go down to the falls, Shine Falls. And what actually happened when we got there, Zion was a 16-year-old brother of the black power guy that had the full tats. Anyway, my son, we all jumped in another big circle, and my son said to Zion and Dills to jump into the middle of the circle and do the same thing, stand in front of each other about that far apart, and stare each other in the eyes. Had the music going, and we were all just staring at them like a protection thing, and letting them let down their walls. And all of a sudden, Dills, the tough guy, he started bawling his eyes out, and he was staring at his younger brother. And they did that for about 4 or 5 minutes, and you could see they both wanted to sort of like go in and cuddle each other, and they went to do it, and my son said, no, stay there. And so they stayed there for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then he said, just take a step in, but don't touch, just take a step in. And they got closer, and both of them just bawling their eyes out, and you could hear them, they're sobbing and all that sort of thing. So they did that for another 5 minutes, and then he said, okay, go in and hug. And you could see the energy that was going into their hug. They were both squeezing each other. You could hear the guttural feelings. Oh, I love you, my bro. I wish I had it. I wish I had it. I wish I had it, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So that was pretty hard to face. And then little did I know, straight after that, my son said, Dad, can you go and stand in the middle? Oh, what? I only come along to support you, son. And so yeah, I jumped in the middle, and then he did the same. He came and stood in front of me, and we were like about 2 feet apart. And previous to us leaving the car park, walking down to that spot, my knees were sort of like shaking, and I felt this real funny feeling coming over me. And little did I know that this was going to happen, but I think I must have had a premonition. And my son said to me, oh, Dad, yeah, stand there. And he came and stood in front of me. And straight away, man, I just felt this weird feeling. Everything was started coming from my gut up into my chest. And my chest started feeling really, really sore and hard. And I was like doing some pretty heavy breathing. and I could feel my eyes just well up. And I was looking at my son, and my son's eyes were just beetroot red, and he was crying. He was bawling his eyes out, and both of us were. And I talked with the guy that took over from my son, because my son normally takes the role. He said, stay where you are, guys. So we were there for must have been 10 minutes, and we're both sobbing for the whole time. And then Togo told us to move in, so we stepped in, did the same as what the two brothers had done earlier. And yeah, my whole body was shaking. I just had no control of my body, but we still had to stay there for about another 5 to 10 minutes. And that was the moment that changed the rest of my life, I think, because as soon as Togo told us to move in and cuddle, my son just grabbed me and he squeezed the living shit out of me. And he'd been wanting this for quite a long time, because I'd left them when they were young. My wife and I didn't see eye to eye for quite a while. Yeah, so that was something, and I did the same. I squeezed in. They got it all on video, and I've watched it over and over again, and every time it just makes me feel like I want to cry. But anyway, after that happened, we climbed over the fence and walked down to the falls, and we had to do these other exercises that he got us to do, and they were hard out breathing exercises, and you had to yell, and they were guttural yells that we did, which made us let go of a lot of stuff that we'd all had pent up. Then while we were up the top, we had to write all these things down, put it in our shoe, and stick it by the river, and then jump into the water, which was waist deep. It was freaking freezing. The wind was coming from the waterfall down to us, was just coming straight towards us. It was like it was raining, but it was raining that way, because the wind was freaking cold and the water was cold, and we were all shaking like this, and you could see everybody had goosebumps, but we all jumped in, and we ended up doing a haka, and it was probably one of the strongest hakas I've ever done, because I was just letting so much stuff out. And once we'd done the haka, my son said to everybody, when you're ready, just do this guttural yell, and then fully submerge yourself, and then come up, and then just let it all go, let everything go. And a couple of them did it a couple of times. I did it about 7 times, but yeah, it was just invigorating. And then we had to, once we got out, we had to go and grab our little note that we written about what we thought about ourselves, or what we want to do, and all that sort of stuff, and put it in the pot, burnt it. So that was something that we got rid of. So we're getting rid of a lot of shit all at once. Excuse my French, but yeah, we just got rid of a lot of those things. My son, he'd been struggling with depression and anxiety for about 10 years, and me the same for about 20 years. He created a charity with, and he dealt with a lot of attempting suicide victims. That was his charity. And a couple of his old schoolmates from Napier Boys High, they were over in Australia, but him, John, and the other two had been talking for quite a while, and they asked John to go over to Aussie, and they ended up creating this men's medicine. And it was on Channel 1, probably the beginning of last year, and I hadn't seen it, but one of my mates told me about it, so I watched it a few times before I actually went to do this hikoi. And it is taking groups out to Shines Falls. They did a couple up in Auckland, they did a few over in Sydney, that my son went over to help out with, to do those ones. And yeah, that day, it's sort of like, it just changed everything for me. So I stayed there with my grandkids. I had the most massivest time for the next couple of days with my grandkids. And then I have to go back home to work. So I went back home, and on my way back, and when I finally got back there, I don't know what it was, but I just sensed something, and I had it sat down and I talked to my partner, and I said to her, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not very happy with everything. And yeah, in about a week, we had the house on the market, got rid of a lot of stuff, and I packed all my stuff up into a container. She packed all her stuff into another container. I moved out and stayed with a mate for a while until I got everything arranged back here. And yeah, that's what I was going to do. I was going to move back here. So I moved back just before Christmas. And yeah, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it was something that I had to do. And it was all because of what my son had asked me to do, and it opened up my eyes, and it showed me that you know, I'd had a vision that I wanted to be happy, and I could not sort of like figure out how, but after doing this hikoi, I started picturing things, and when I got back to Hastings, I thought, no, this is what I've got to do. I've got to come back here. Ever since then, I've gone back into doing the visualization of being happy, doing things for my family. And it wasn't until I got back here, I had some money that I put aside because I wanted to do Bitcoin. So I came back here and I asked my cousin, I says, oh, do you know anybody who can help me out with Bitcoin? And I says, oh, yeah, Ben can do it. And then I just must have had a real good premonition, because as soon as I spoke to Ben, he said, oh yeah, I can help you out with this, but just have a look at this. And what he gave me was that Tina's video, I think it was 21 million. And I watched that one, and Ben didn't even have to come back and say to me, oh bro, you know, here, do you want to join? Well, he didn't have to talk to me or anything. I went back to him and I said, bro, I've been over in Aussie for the last 10 years. I've dabbled in MLMs here, there and everywhere. And I've pictured this, I pictured that, I picture that, I picture that. And when I saw this, bang, it all just melted together. This is what I want. This is what I've been wanting. But these people couldn't do it. These people couldn't do it. And as well as that, the leaders, they were all up there. They were making all the money, and you were down the bottom, and they treated you like, you know, you're a little kid. So to come into this straight away, and you're talking to Misa, you're talking to Stephen, you're talking to Sione. Holy, these are our top leaders, and these guys are, you know, coming in. They want to help you straight away, and I've only just turned up. So yeah, I had visualized this for many years previous, but it wasn't until all these little steps that I've taken over the last, well, now it's been a year, it's also like falling into place. And it's because every day I do my gratifications, I do my affirmations, and as soon as I get out of bed, I do the same thing. So before I go to bed, and when I get out of bed, I do it. So it's just all falling into place, and it's all due to this visualization, and it brings together what you want. So I think I've taken up enough everybody's time, so I'll pass it on. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, what awesome, bro. Thank you for sharing your testimony. And, you know, Matty's the one that created this topic for us, or inspired us to do this topic today, which is visualization creates realization. So just to go on from him and then go into the rest of the crew is, you know, there's a scripture that says, or from the great book, Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. And when I hear Matty, and I've reflected on my life, and maybe you can do the same, is we can all look at areas probably in our life where we've felt despondent. You know, we've wanted to be, like Matty says, happy, and don't know how to get there, but we've got that picture in our mind. And it's really important. Pictures are really important, because whatever's in the front of our mind is where our life goes. And that can be positive or negative. And I like how he said that he took steps. He didn't quite know what to do, but he just kept taking the next step. And then through his son, of all people, he was surprised. He was surprised by life, because then that gave him a massive forward, it gave him a massive forward step into the direction we wanted to be, which was happy, which led to a massive change at the end of the year. You see, so I'll go into what I'm going to say is that, you see, you, I, none of us, we can't have what we do not see. And we will have what we can or cannot see. That means if we see something positive, yep, that's inside our mind, that picture, yep, that's what it's going to be for us. If we see something negative, then that's where our life is going to go. So it's important, because sometimes some people will see things like cents. When Bitcoin came along, they see cents and go, no, not me. But other people, when they saw Bitcoin, they went, I see a future, something amazing. And then they said, yes, me. And so they jumped on. Some people see C1 at 2 million and they'll go, nah, not me, scam. Other people like myself and others will go, oh, there's potential here, there's a future in here. And now we're here and it's 36 million. And yet some people see this now at 36 million, they'll go, oh, nah, it's probably won't work. They won't say scam, but they'll probably say, oh, not for me. But other people come on board and they'll go, you know what, I can see this going 100 million, taking over the world, being like Facebook and beyond. And they'll say, yes, me. Other times when we visualize things that some will see unlucky, once bitten, twice shy. And for me, I've done that. I used to think that about relationships. I used to think that about being rich or being affluent, until I had a surprise, like Matty. I had a surprise come along in terms of my life fall apart, and then caused me to think differently. And so I had no wife, I had no money, so I had to think, am I really unlucky? Am I in love? And am I really lucky in finances? What's this all about? And then thinking, maybe I'm not so. And then, but I don't know. And then having books and audio surprise me, so they go, wow, unlock the door in finances. And then me realizing, asking a simple question in the relationship area, am I a companion person or a single person? Think, wow, I'm a companion person. So I need to go down the companion side of life. Otherwise, if I think I'm once bitten, twice shy, I will never have that companion. So then I just opened up. See, simple things, surprises can unlock our lives. So it's very important that because it's really about our mindset, and to see the bigger picture, but not the obstacles that are standing in our way. So if we see the bigger picture, it doesn't matter. See, the obstacles will be steps on the way to our freedom and moving forward. Inside our crowd, we used to say this a lot, and it's still true. It's the first time it helped me to realize how much mindset makes a difference in people's lives. We used to say like this, you know what? We've got people on here from 18 to 87 years old. I remember we had someone in prison too. So we had people from in prison to totally free. We've got people who live all around the world in every country that you can think of, pretty much. We've got people that have started off very poor or in undeveloped countries, to people who are in affluent countries doing very well. We've got the healthiest to the most ill that have been on here. And we've seen some pass on, even during our time together. And so we've got some people that have been able-bodied, and we've seen other people in wheelchairs and not have all their body parts, not have all their senses. So when we look at all the things that happen to people in life, how people have been made up, we can see that, what we visualize is really important to create what will end up being realized inside our lives, because there are people in every circumstance that similar to you, similar to me, that have either been successful or failure. And so it's really important, like I said, and I'll come back to this, that, whatever we picture, we get that main picture to be one of positivity, one that will move us forward, because that is where our life will go. So I'll leave it at that for now, and I'll hand it over to the brother Leo.